Phone reselling is definitely one of the best side hustles out there that you could start at any given time. And I've got to say, after doing it for myself, I have definitely enjoyed it fully because I've made so much money doing this on a part-time basis. But just like everything good, there are always a few downsides, and that's what I'll be discussing in this video. Pretty much in this video, I'll be going over a few cons to phone flipping that I feel like everybody should know before they get into the business. So if you guys are planning on phone flipping, make sure that you stay tuned because this is a lot of important stuff that I feel like I wish I would have known before that I'm going to be telling you guys in this video. Before I get into any of that information, make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel if you are new, and if you have not already, smash that like button because it truly helps me out, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out when I have a future upload. Also, if you guys are looking for a free money grab opportunity, go ahead and use the link I have down below for Webull, where you can get 12 free stocks worth up to $30,000 just by depositing 1 penny on the platform. It's literally just 1 penny that you deposit and you could potentially get $30,000 worth of free stocks. So go ahead and use that link down below. But now the first con that I have when it comes to phone flipping, or the first con that I found personally, is that a phone can easily be blacklisted after you purchase it. One thing that I've noticed is that when you buy phones from sketchy people who don't have good ratings or just don't have any type of reliability behind their listings, it's very common that they could blacklist the device after they sell it to you. Recently, I've had this happen to me where I purchased an iPhone 13 Pro Max and I've had it for about a week and a half, and then after that, it got blacklisted.
Brother, this guy stinks!
I literally could not put my SIM card in it. I couldn't make calls or even make any text messages because the phone was reported stolen. Now, supposedly the way they did this was that they had an insurance claim open on the phone. So when they sold me the phone, they reported it stolen and claimed a new one, because pretty much they could sell the phone they had previously, report it stolen, and then get another one and just repeat the process. So that right there kind of messed me up because I bought the phone for $600, and when it got reported stolen, I pretty much couldn't sell it for myself. So that right there is easily like the biggest downside, which is why I always tell people, buy from reliable sellers. Always check the person's page to make sure they have good ratings and that they've actually sold phones previously. Getting your phone blacklisted after purchasing it is not ideal, but it is bound to happen eventually if you don't buy from consistent people. The second con that I found with phone flipping is actually correlated to the first one that I mentioned, and that's losing all your profits over losing one phone. Literally, buying one bad phone could lead to you losing a whole lot of money, and that money could have been all the profits you've made for the week by purchasing other phones. I found that just by making that one mistake, I lost $600 in a single day, and that right there led to me losing $600 worth of profits, which meant all the driving I did back and forth was for no reason. Now, obviously, you could take different precautions to make sure this doesn't happen, and that includes going to a store to have the person's account for the phone transferred to you, and that way they don't have no correlation with reporting the phone stolen and the phone's pretty much under your name, which is something I actually didn't know about for myself, but I found out afterwards. So this one con really does hurt a lot because it's like losing all your work over one device. I know that I've went back and forth for a whole week purchasing multiple devices, and the fact that losing one device could really wipe out all my profits in a split second is really terrible because it's a lot of hard work to get all those devices and actually make a profit. So always be aware to make sure to buy from reliable sellers, and try to avoid going long distances because, like I said in my previous video, I drove a whole lot of long distances to pick up phones and it really wasn't too necessary. The third con with phone flipping is buying phones that actually are stolen. Now, in some instances, you might buy a phone that comes up clean on the IMEI checking websites such as IMEIPro.info or even on the carrier websites, but after a certain period of time, people could actually report their phone stolen once they realize that they have the IMEI. And you know, some people take some time to do that. So if you buy a phone the same moment it's stolen, it probably won't come up as stolen just yet. And like I said before, it's a huge downside when you purchase a stolen device because now you have a hard time selling it, and if you do end up selling it, it's going to be for parts. So always be aware, like I said before, to buy from reliable sellers. I just can't emphasize this enough because I've made this mistake like 4 times after purchasing about 30 devices total now. So really, if I just stuck to reliable sellers, I don't think I'd ever have an issue in terms of losing profits. But since I branched off into purchasing from any sellers, it kind of put me in a bad situation where now it's like a 50-50 gamble on whether or not this phone is actually safe to use. But after learning this mistake, I haven't done it no more, and I've seen positive results throughout the entire time. So make sure you do that too, because that's definitely a huge con. Purchasing a stolen phone is not the way to go, and you could actually get yourself into a lot of trouble. The next con with phone flipping is that negotiating when it comes to purchasing a phone is always going to take time. After messaging multiple people back and forth every single day so I could consistently have a phone to pick up on a daily basis, I started to realize that most of my time was really spent going back and forth through messages trying to bring the price down. As a beginner, it's definitely extremely difficult to bring the price down on people because you don't know what to ask them, and you really don't know why on earth you're bringing the price down because you don't fully have an explanation. All you know is you're trying to make money to resell the phone, but you obviously can't tell that to the person you're buying it from. So I actually made a video where I explained how I negotiated and brought my prices down to like $100 to $150 on average so that I can make as much profit as possible. And that video is this video right over here. So if you guys are interested in learning how to negotiate, make sure you check it out because it helped me a whole lot. It kind of details my whole process when it comes to bringing the price down and how I was able to make top tier profits in terms of buying phones on a daily basis and reselling them back at the same moment. But negotiating definitely does feel like a lot of work because it just takes a long time to be able to bring the price down on people who are really strict with their prices. And when they are firm, it's not going to be worth it to just try to keep going back and forth. I suggest just moving on to the next person because if you waste too much time on one person, you're missing out on an opportunity to purchase another phone.
No, he's got a point.
Another con with phone flipping is having to drive long distances for phones that are really good deals. I've had this happen to me where I just find a very good deal on a device and I figured, I'll just drive the extra 40 minutes necessary to pick the phone up. But if you don't feel like driving, you obviously don't have to, but it's definitely a con when you find such good offers that you just can't let them go. Driving long distances is going to feel a bit overwhelming at times, especially if you do phone flipping full time like I was doing during the summer. And even though I started to do it part time while going to school, it definitely was still a lot of work. Driving long distances just means you're burning more gas. It means that you have a lot more time you have to spare for picking up one phone. And at the same time, it also means you have to clear your schedule up for certain hours to make sure you pick the phone up on time. One thing I will suggest when it comes to phone flipping is that you always want to make sure to meet up with people within a 10-minute radius of where you live. It's not necessary to go too far because in reality, there are a whole lot of listings every single day and you're gonna find something that's in your area. So don't overthink it and don't feel like you have to go to this person who's a whole hour away because trust me, it's not worth it. Lastly, one thing you have to keep in mind when purchasing any device, whether it be an iPhone, Android, computer, whatever it is, always make sure it is not being financed. If you buy a device that's being financed, that means you can't have it unlocked because it's stuck with that carrier since the device hasn't been paid off. And at the same time, it could also be reported stolen by the person who sold it to you because it's still linked to their account. But always make sure whatever device you're purchasing is fully paid off because you don't want to have a financed device in your hands because it puts you in a position where you're kind of dependent on the person who sold you the phone to just be honest. But overall, phone flipping is definitely a great side hustle. Like I said, I still do it personally and I do enjoy doing it. So if you guys do want to get into it, don't let this video discourage you. It's mainly just to give you an open view on the different types of stuff you have to look out for because me personally, I've made a lot of mistakes. And I understand that a lot of new people will make mistakes in the whole process of starting a new side hustle. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys understood what you have to avoid in order to be successful. And if you guys do avoid the mistakes that I made personally, I don't think you're going to have much of an issue. But if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and smash that like button because it truly helps me out. And at the same time, don't forget to get your free stocks down in the description below, worth up to $30,000 when you just deposit 1 penny on the Webull platform. Besides that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and I'll see you in the next one.
See you, chump.